Hey guys, nice to meet you. Today we're working with the people from Catch and Release. We're going to talk to them a little bit about what their services are and how you can benefit from them. So we've got Gianna, Liz, and Annalisa.
Hi. Thanks, Erin. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Gianna. I run marketing for Catch and Release. We have Annalisa Gooden, who's our founder and CEO, and Liz Mandeville, who's our director of curation. And we're going to walk you through what Catch and Release is all about, how we're empowering producers right now, today, and moving forward in kind of this new world of production that we're working in. So, Annalisa, I will kick it over to you to go right ahead.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us on, Erin. And we're we're a huge supporter of what you're doing at Poolhouse. We sort of have really been feeling the spirit across the whole industry over the last several weeks of just community and family, and we're all in this together, and what can we do to kind of share knowledge and insights across roles and across styles and across barriers and boundaries. And it's just great to be able to participate in that, be the recipients of that, and also be able to give back within that. So thank you for putting this
Yeah,
on.
we're really, really excited to have you guys on. I'm particularly, I mean, we love everything that you do, but I was really excited to learn that, you know, you guys are licensing user-generated content. And then in that process, you know, if there's a producer who's going to be at home for the next few weeks and they're busy and they need something to create busy work, you know, they can connect with you guys and maybe make a little bit of money off of their footage.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing to cover is kind of the two sides of the Catch and Release marketplace, the sort of tools we've built for people who are producing spots and the tools we've built for people who are creating content that could get used in those spots. And we have kind of a dual focus as a company, is kind of making that marketplace possible for content all over the internet, from professionals to people who've never licensed anything before but have captured something really great that somebody wants to buy. So happy to get into all that.
Great, thank you.
So where would you like us to start?
So why don't you start with the contributor network? I think that's a really interesting way it works. Gianna kind of took me through it a little bit yesterday and I was slightly confused. So that's me, not you. But I figured if we could find out like how like a layman who doesn't know anything out of the industry would submit content, that would be great.
So Catch and Release is a platform that gives tools to producers, creatives, and business affairs folks at agencies that allow them to tap into the internet for content coming from anywhere to service briefs. In today's environment where a lot of the traditional production methods are on hold, tapping into the breadth of the internet as a source of content has become a game changer for people who need to keep their projects moving.
Right.
Less about putting together a team and shooting, it's more about putting together a team and searching.
Right.
And needing the tools that Catch and Release provides to clear and license all of that content for commercial use really does become a secret weapon for producers in this environment to keep making work. So where do we get that content from?
Yeah.
It really comes from all over the web. It comes from people on Instagram and Vimeo and YouTube and personal blogs. It comes from everywhere. And so because it comes from everywhere, in many cases, it comes from the same people that might be in the production world shooting stuff for their clients. Yep. So Catch and Release has always tried to create the shortest path possible between the great content on the web that really meets the needs of your brief to make that really as quick and as hassle-free as possible. So what we've done is we've developed, as part of our offering, a contributor network where people who create content can connect their accounts to Catch and Release. And then when we have briefs coming in on the other side, we kind of have a pool of content we can go to where people have said, hey, when a brief comes up that matches this content and I'm interested in selling. And so it's a very effortless way to do it. It's just literally like a couple clicks of a button and then your content is in. We really try to approach the contributor network without adding a lot of friction, because ultimately we don't really know what is going to sell. We have great hypotheses when briefs come into the system as to what buyers are looking for. But in advance of getting those briefs, we try not to put people through an arduous hours and hours long process of uploading content from drives and tagging and all of that. We sort of want to say, let's let's make this very frictionless. If you're already uploading content to the web, we'll just tap into that for now. When we have briefs, we'll let you know when there's a piece of content that matches, and then we'll make the sale happen. So I think for producers in today's environment, particularly, I think it can be a great, and not just producers, creatives, editors, anybody who's shooting, as long as you're posting to the internet, you can connect to Catch and Release. It's a very easy way. You don't have to change your behavior really at all. It's an easy way to just get some commercial exposure. But I think the other side of it that's really interesting is that for producers in today's environment that are maybe being asked to work in new ways and produce content in new ways for brands, that Catch and Release can be a great resource to make you very, very successful very quickly at making spots using sourced content versus shooting from scratch.
Great. And do you want to, are you going to do a little demo where we do a share screen?
Yes, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah,
that would be super. Thank you.
Yeah. And we have also Liz on the call, who's our director of curation, and she can provide insights at any point in terms of what clients actually are looking for and what kind of content we're seeing heavily requested, especially now.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is like, what are people looking for? You know.
Yeah. So why don't we do the demo first, and then we can kind of go into that, because part of the demo will be kind of walking you through really how a brief becomes a spot. Using a tool like Catch and Release. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. And show you that. So let me know when you can see my screen.
It's up.
Okay, great. So one of the things that you get when you sign up for Catch and Release at catchandrelease.com is you get access to our app. And our app is a project management tool that connects the internet to your project and allows you to clear and license what you find. You can create as many projects as you want on Catch and Release. So we have many clients that might be working on 3 or 4 spots for a certain brand, or 3 or 4 spots across multiple brands. And our sort of projects page that you're looking at here is what helps you keep all of that stuff organized and allows you to bring in certain team members to different projects depending on what you're working on. So let's pretend we just created a project called a 30-second anthem spot. We're creating this for a brand, and it's empty because there's nothing in it yet, right? We have maybe we've got a script, we've got a rip, maybe we've got a storyboard, we've got some idea of what we're creating, but we haven't gotten any content yet. Right. The first thing we're going to do is download Catch and Release's Chrome extension. And you can see that here in my browser, this little ampersand that's hanging out up here. That is kind of like the Pinterest button. It's a bookmarking tool that's following you around wherever you might be searching on the web and allowing you to pull stuff in. So say we're on Instagram and we found this great video of this woman surfing and we think it's going to be an awesome ad to this spot. We're going to go ahead and click the Catch extension, and it's going to pull this shot in. Now what it's doing is it's pulling in not just the shot itself and giving us a nice big thumbnail here. It's also using Catch and Release's technology to tell us whether or not the license is likely to be secured. That's a pretty game-changing piece of tech, because you can't right now search the web and know what's licensable.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest barriers.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I was just helping out with a project last year, and that ended up being kind of an issue. There were a bunch of shots that creatives they edited it into the spot, they presented it to the client, and then they couldn't get the license. So it's a big deal to be able to know as a producer that the things you're sharing are likely to be able to be used. And then when you're talking to the client or you're talking to your creatives, we can go, maybe not that one, but how about this one? Or let's try for it, but don't get your hopes up, you know?
You got it, exactly. And I think, what I think is especially powerful for it is for any producer that is working in the medium of found content, maybe for the first time or hasn't done it a lot. You don't have to be an expert, or you don't even have to have a business affairs person on your team to now set up for success at the beginning of this process.
Right.
So it allows you to be quite scrappy with your resources. You could tell, we're now basically kind of giving you the tools that act like a business affairs sort of mind,
right?
Kind of helping you see around some corners.
Yeah, or at the very least, you can take a little bit of the load off of your business managers.
Yeah.
They're always so busy,
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
It's like most producers would probably recommend a business manager anyway, but it's good to take that much time away from them because they're doing other stuff, you know?
That's a really good way to frame it, because I think that that's exactly right. Like this, they are the most qualified ones to assess things like this, but it's not exactly in their core sort of job description. So
right.
Giving them more breadth to focus on the things that really matter for them is really important.
Right.
So we're going to go ahead and add this shot to our project, and you can see that it populates there. Catch and Release, you might be working on a RIP and you don't really necessarily care about licensing right now, but Catch and Release is always keeping an eye out for what's licensable, so you're never losing that thread. The other thing I can do if I have a URL, say one of my creatives sent me like 16 URLs in an email thread, I can add URLs straight into here as well. So there's two ways you can add shots in. The other thing I'm going to do at this stage is invite other members to my project, because I'm collaborating on this with, maybe it's a creative partner or another producer or business manager, and I want to bring everybody in for transparency as early as possible. So I'm going to add anybody that I want to here. And as anybody else is adding content to this project, it starts to populate here in one screen. So you've got kind of a building board of finds coming from all over the web. Right? This may be Vimeo, Instagram, YouTube, Getty Images might have stuff in here that, you know, somebody has pulled in. So it's really content coming from everywhere. And Catch and Release is monitoring, you know, this one is kind of questionable. This one is not very likely to license. This one's highly likely to license. So we're monitoring how easy this stuff's going to be to get once you start to build your edits.
Yeah, this is really amazing. It provides a really nice palette for everybody to work in together, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of the friction with using found content is, you know, there's so many different sources, and it's really hard to just track where things come from. And it's, when you pull links onto spreadsheets, you don't often get the thumbnail to come along with them. So from a creative review perspective, just being able to standardize the visual experience of seeing content from lots of different sources in one place is great. And we enable other kinds of collaboration too. So if you click into this shot, here's where you'd be able to play. You know, we're showing you the kind of full video. You can like shots, dislike them. You can comment back and forth with your team. So really, you know, make it easy.
Oh, this is amazing.
Thanks. It's been a labor of love for like the last 25 years.
Yeah, well, you guys are nailing it, so that's cool.
So now we're getting to a point in the process. Maybe we've developed a rough cut. Maybe we're starting to get ahead of the curve a little bit, and we want to actually start to go out and secure the rights to this stuff. So this is how this process works. I request clearances on it. I choose the rights that this project represents, whether it's digital, industrial, all media. These are all kind of concepts that are highly familiar to those of us who've done a lot of licensing in the past. I'm going to choose my time codes that I'm interested in, because maybe this is a 10-minute video and I'm really only interested in 10 seconds of the front end.
Right.
Helps us really hone in on exactly what needs to be cleared. I'm going to request clearances on this shot. And now the engine has started. So this is actually something that this button can get clicked at 2 o'clock in the morning. It can get clicked at 10 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter. This is kind of our engine starting to do the work of clearing this shot for you. And because it's an engine that's doing it, it's the
exactly
Sorry?
Oh, I was going to say, so that's really cool, because you can be anywhere in the world.
Yes.
Right? And what does the person get, like a notification or something?
Yes.
Like a outreach?
Yeah, exactly. So we're automating the entire process. And because we're doing that, it's twofold, right? So I've been working in this industry of footage research and rights and clearances since about 2004. So dating back a ways. And we've developed over the time of building this business, insights into how to communicate with the market of content owners.
Right.
If you're a professional filmmaker, you know, you kind of address that person in one way. If you're someone who's just kind of never licensed anything before, but you happen to capture a great shot, you kind of might address somebody in a different way. So there are ways that what we ultimately want to do is get people to the yes as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. And you don't do that by just spamming them or, you know, speaking down. You kind of have to establish a level of trust and respectability in this process. So even as we're automating this, we're doing that with a real human connection requirement, because ultimately we want people to feel safe licensing their content. And if they feel safe, then this is like, this path becomes much faster. So it can take, you know, we are, I think, the fastest solve here because we're building technology into the process, but it's about, you know, we've seen it happen as quickly as 1 day. The average is about 5 days to get a shot from just somewhere on the internet to fully licensed for commercial use.
That's amazing, because that's another thing. Well, it's twofold. Like right now, everybody's rushing to put out what their message is going to be, right?
Yep.
But the thing that like the barrier of entry was always like, well, user generated takes a really long time to license everything. So this is really good to know.
Yeah, and it's true because it's so unpredictable. And you are, you know, what we've decided to do as a technology company is said, okay, what levers are in our control and what aren't? What's not in our control is like, is somebody going to respond to the email? They may decide to respond to an email after a day. They may respond after a week, right? But there's a lot of time in the process that it currently takes, and why it's been perceived as something that takes a long time, that really are in our control. If we send out a message, can that message be automated? The minute we get a response, can we understand that response? And can the platform tell us that we've received a response, or do we need a human being to like be checking that we've sent and received notifications back and forth? Identifying the recognizable talent in a shot. How many faces are there? The licensability rating is the first step to advancing the time frame of clearances, because it's telling us right away, right out the gate, hey, there's some challenges in this shot. We may not even want to go down this path, versus this one has a high licensability rating. This one's going to be highly successful. So all of these things kind of help us just enable that speed. And to your point, speed to market with this messaging is so important now more than ever. I mean, we're not being given weeks to ship spots. We're being given days to ship spots. So you need to take any kind of automation, any kind of like streamlining to the process you can get.
Great.
So this becomes really your source of truth as a producer or as a business manager once shots are in clearances. So you can see the first step here is that we've assessed the components in the shot that need to get cleared. We've identified a copyright owner, we've identified a surfer, and we've identified a logo on the surfboard. Now, Catch&Release may not clear the logo on the surfboard. We will probably assume that you'll blur it out or crop it out. But as a compliance engine, we want to make sure everybody's on the same page about where the legal risk is.
Right. Yeah, no, that's also really, really helpful, because sometimes, you know, you'll see it and it's like 4 frames in the back of the edit and you catch it at the last minute. And it's just nice for a producer to have a list of all the things, you know, that you can put on their, you know, on their to-do, like, let's make sure the logo goes out for this. Let's make sure, you know, that we've done our due diligence. And
one of the things too is, you know, we have a full product and engineering team. We are getting customer feedback all the time on from producers and business managers and other folks in the post-production process that are giving us ideas for things that only make this better. So one of our producer customers recently said, hey, would you ever integrate technology that would do the blurring for us later? Like, could you do that for us in your platform? And that's a great example of something that would end up on our roadmap that maybe isn't there today, but could be there in a couple of months. So this is an evolving tool that's constantly getting better based on the folks in this industry that are using it. So after you've requested clearances, we've assessed that there are 3 things that are required: the copyright owner, the surfer, and the logo. So the first step here that you'll get notified about is when we've contacted the copyright owner, and you can see when we've made attempts. A lot of producers and business managers say, hey, listen, it would be great to know kind of like, how long ago did you contact them? Where are we at in the process? So this is really like an update, an updated dashboard that keeps you completely in sync. And you can see we've made 1 attempt, we've made a 2nd attempt, and on the 3rd attempt, in this particular case, we've made contact and we are now negotiating license terms with the copyright owner.
Right.
At the point that we get approval on the copyright, once we get copyright owner approval, is when we will now start securing the talent. So you can see that that's in progress. We're now securing model releases. Once we have the model release on file, the license becomes purchasable. You can see that the exclusions are still listed here. So Catch&Release actually provides indemnification for the copyright, and anything that we've cleared, we indemnify you for. Anything that's in the exclusions area, you're responsible for blurring out or cropping out yourself. So that's why we leave it in there, just so you understand the risk. And we never lose any metadata here. So especially for like on an ongoing basis, if anybody needed to do a look back on a job and say, who did request clearances on that shot and what, who brought that shot in, we never lose any of that metadata. And for editors, we provide other kinds of metadata too, like what's the resolution, what's the file size, what's the frame rate, where was the source? Like again, this is a tool for kind of everybody in the ecosystem when it comes to content production.
Well, that's great for an editor too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then we pull the highest res assets available from the sites directly. Mm-hmm. So you always have something you can download and put into an edit. And then during the clearance process, we will obtain the high res master from the copyright owner.
Great.
So I'm going to go ahead and purchase the license. We're going to accept the terms and conditions of the license, enter in our start date for the license, and then purchase the license. So once the shot is licensed, you've got it, it's yours. And you can track all of your licenses here. So all of your licenses, no matter where they're from, all end up in one beautiful dashboard. You don't have multiple spreadsheets running around. You can print them if you want and send them to your client. Oftentimes we get requests for, I need an itemized list I can forward along to my client of what we got. And all the legal responsibility lives here. Everything that's in clearances is tracked. So as you request clearances and you add content to your queue, you can see them all up front. This one, we decided has no path to clearance. This one is in the process of being contacting the copyright owner. This one is assessing the clearances now. This one is negotiating license terms. This one is ready to license. So you kind of have an ongoing list of everything that's kind of in process. Now, on the curation side, when you are working on a brief and you're looking and you've got your team all searching, Catch&Release does provide curation services to assist you if you need them. And we'll separate out our finds from yours just to make them super simple. Some of the benefits of using Catch&Release's curation services are that, sometimes it's all hands on deck and you just need more eyeballs looking. Right. Yeah. And also our curators are highly trained in clearances. So what we're finding is usually being vetted for high likely license to clear. You have the licensability rating that helps you there, but we'll usually send through content that is, extra high in probability. Right. We're also pulling on our side from our contributor network, which we talked about before. So we have access to this network of creators that are opting in and sharing their social content with us. And when I say social content, it could be an independent film that you've uploaded to Vimeo, right? It's coming from social platforms, but the content itself could be very high production value. So right now, we give you access to connect Vimeo, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. But that list is growing as the network grows. So we hear from people saying, hey, I've got my own, and I've got a blog and I've got content on my blog. Can I connect that? Or somebody says, I do use Flickr a lot. Can you connect Flickr? So that ultimately is going to become a very expansive list of wherever your content lives online, Catch&Release can be connected to it.
This episode is brought to you by The Den Editorial. We are thrilled to partner with The Den to edit this podcast. Their editors have been using a unique remote system that allows us to continue to collaborate and connect in real time. We simply send our clients a unique login, and everyone can participate from home, right from your laptops, in perfect sync. And most importantly, we all look forward to the day when we can see you not virtually. Stay healthy.
In terms of the submitting your content, can you just show us that?
So I'll show you how to sign up for the Contributor Network. It's super, super simple. So if you go to catchrelease.com, you click on the top, Our Approach, we have area for advertisers, right? So if you're using Catch&Release for a project, right, for a brand or for contributors, click here. And this is, overview of what it is, how simple it is, sign up, you'll get paid. And really it's connect your content. You sit back and relax. And then we come to you and there's an opportunity. So there's more information here and it's super simple just at the top to become a contributor. And here you will just enter in your information. So I'll do a test account. I think I did that. And I sign up. And then what will happen is you can connect one at a time your various channels. So right now, Instagram, Twitter, Vimeo, YouTube, the breadth of channels will increase, right, as the network increases. So if I connect my Instagram, I'll authorize. And then you'll receive more prompts that'll kind of take you through the process and learn more and things like that.
Great.
I'll finish setting up. And then all of my, my Instagram roll up here because I'm trying to be an influencer. So this is sort of embarrassing, but all of your media will be populated, right? So as I upload more content to each of these channels, it will automatically sync to Catch and Release. So again, this idea of, you know, there's not any work that you need to extra work that you need to do, and the contributor network grows as the internet grows, right? The more content that's populated,
more users, more content, more searchability.
Exactly.
And this is so easy to do. This is so much easier than what I thought it was. So I'm so glad you shared it with me.
Yeah, thanks for asking. And I think that's the goal here, really, is to create, you know, I've been in this business a long time and have seen the way that photographers and filmmakers and the amount of work they have to do to participate in the licensing opportunities really is like nights and weekends and slogging through drives and managing tags and setting their own prices and all this stuff that's just like takes away from the work they really should be doing, which is going out and shooting more and doing more creative, right?
Yeah.
And so we really it was kind of an eye-opener to say, wait a second, like the internet already has all this metadata, it already has all the tags, it already has the storage, it's already got all this stuff. How do we just effortlessly tap into that? So if people are uploading to Vimeo, then they're uploading to Catch and Release, and it's just one single place you need to work, and we let you know when there's opportunity.
It's so cool. Yeah, my sister is a content creator, and she has been uploading to some of the bigger stock houses and stuff, and she sold a photograph the other day, and they paid her, I think, 50 cents. Yeah. So, you know, in terms of, you know, with you guys and your negotiating and pricing, like Gianna was telling me that you guys are a lot more fair when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, we really do want to elevate the market value of content from the web. We believe, I mean, again, this is kind of like, it's a new world in content production, and there's high value in creating original content. We all know that. We know what clients would pay for a day of shooting, right?
Right.
And we need it faster, and clients do need it cheaper, but that doesn't mean it has to be 50 cents. I think there's a world in which we can all work to elevate the medium of found content and recognize artists for what they've created, but also recognize what the market value of that is in the moment that it's getting used. I think, you know, we're trying to come at it from both sides. So she earned 50% on a photograph. How much time had she spent getting that content into the stock site that she contributed to? Maybe she spent a lot of time.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time.
Yeah, so we're saying, okay, you know, maybe it's not going to be thousands and thousands of dollars, but at least you didn't have to do much work. It's passive revenue, and it's you know, it's available now to be found by a buyer. And what's interesting about the community of people that are watching this is that you kind of represent both sides of the marketplace. You're both the buyers of content and you're the potential sellers and shooters of content.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to create a tool that really does kind of let you be both of those things.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And Liz, what are people looking for right now? What are you finding?
Yeah, I mean, quite a few sort of predominant trends that we're seeing kind of come through the pipe one is spreading hope, just as a very predominant concept. People creating, you know, rainbows on windows and inspirational signage, especially in this day and age, just the ability to try to show humanity from behind closed doors. Human kindness is definitely an evergreen request, but also people being socially responsible while having human kindness. So dropping off groceries and care packages, and, you know, visiting elderly from behind a window or something like that. Just touching moments. Of course, like essential workers and people in PPE, a lot of device content where people are connecting virtually and trying to show some sort of humanity and some sort of emotion that comes across with that type of connection. So maybe it's like you know, a birthday or a pivotal moment that has some resonance, even though it's via a digital, you know, connector. What else? You know, what's up?
I was going to say, and so that's what we're seeing for right now. Do you have any insight at all on what may be trending, say, in June? Does that?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that it's going to be that we're going to be exploring a little bit more humor and levity in you know, what we're seeing out there and what people are creating. I think it'll probably be, you know, if people have been locked down for, you know, 60 plus days, what kind of like unique, odd things are they coming up with or creating or becoming expert at, using ping pong balls and, you know, like cups or something. I mean, who knows what people are being able to like hone expertises with. So I think that we'll start to see some real levity coming through.
I think there's also something about, you know, another evergreen component that I think is going to work well for this particular audience is that we're always looking for things that, and our clients are always looking for things that emote high quality, right? So high quality doesn't necessarily mean it was shot on a Red camera or an expensive piece of equipment in a studio. High quality is just sometimes is about emotional resonance and about emotional integrity. If it has just the right look and feel, yes, we care a lot about composition and we care about lighting and we care about some level of production value, but you can get that from a phone. These folks that are kind of like in the business and understand what makes a good shot can capture really high quality, beautiful stuff with the equipment that they have in their pocket. Yep. And that gives you an advantage over somebody who maybe doesn't come from this business and isn't really kind of making content all day and maybe they've missed a licensing opportunity because the shot was good, but it was just poorly lit, or the background was not really quite considered, or it was shot vertically instead of horizontally, or whatever it might be. So I think the reminder there, I think, is to folks that it is kind of, you're capturing your day-to-day experience, but you have a bit of an advantage because you have an eye that understands how this content ultimately needs to get used. And I think you can use that to your advantage.
What you guys are doing what you guys are doing creates such an amazing opportunity to be able to get this stuff to market faster. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for sharing it with us.
You're welcome. And I think for on both sides, we covered a lot on the contributor network and on the buy side or the producer side, I hope that it instills some confidence in producers being able to sell new kinds of work to their clients that need to be produced in different ways and need to be produced faster than traditionally possible. And with these tools and with access to this network and beyond, I hope that gives folks the confidence that they have the support that they need to sell in new kinds of creative concepts to clients.
Right. Yeah, and then not only producers, but editors for sure too. You know, like they can sign up with their own thing and have their own search, and then, you know, when a job comes in, they know who they like to follow. They know.
Yes.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, we have editors.
It's almost like, oh, I follow this amazing photographer on Instagram. I'm going to DM him and tell him to get on Catch and Release. You know.
Yeah, one feature that we'll be putting out with the contributor network is we're going to allow customers to recommend people to join. So as cool. Editors are doing that and they're bookmarking their top, you know, favorite filmmakers and photographers just on an ongoing basis, we'll give them a button that just says like, ping these guys to join Catch and Release so that the next time I log into Catch and Release, some of that stuff's licensable.
Yeah, right, exactly. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well,
on that note, Erin, we'd love for the Poolhouse world to know that we're happy anytime to consult, you know, kind of walk through, kind of like dive under the hood of how to really use the tool in the way that a creative really needs to, or how a producer does, or how a business manager does, how to really search effectively based on your very specific brief or brand guidelines. We have a ton of, you know, educational kind of stuff we can walk people through so that they're really feel armed and ready to kind of, you know, offer this as a solution and dive in.
We are happy to help anybody. Right now it feels like, you know, we're all in this together. The production industry has always felt like a big family, and we're all here to support each other.
Well, I have to say, Annalisa, it's so nice to reconnect with you, and it's nice to meet the two of you online, and hopefully when all this is over, we'll be able to go somewhere and get a drink.
I love that idea.
Absolutely. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. All right. Well,
Thanks
you
so much, Erin.
Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.